Okay. Other topic that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about everybody's kind of come to Jesus moment dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality altogether. I remember not very long ago where um, it was at like 30% approval rating for Black Lives Matter. Um, well, at least in America, I'm not certain how it was polled in other countries, or if it was even polled in other countries or not. It could be a new phenomenon for all I know. I'm not certain. So if anybody, any of my listeners, because I know I have some listeners from outside of the country, if you are aware of Black Lives Matter, the movement actually spreading, across the pond into other countries, and some of the activism and causes that were pushed for in those local regions, please let me know, and I would like to bring up those stories and say their name also. So the come to Jesus and the awakening of, oh well, I guess this thing is wrong and that thing is wrong, and now they're realizing things. Um, you have the whole Mrs. Butterworth thing and the Aunt Jemima and the Uncle Ben. We've all known these things were racist, and we've all known that they've come from a racist background. What I see at this moment is corporations trying to cover their ass. Let's just call it what it is. Um, the same thing with various different business in general, and high profile people in general, whether they be athletes, whether they be comedians, entertainers, all kinds of different people. Um, I believe right now it's harder and harder to tell who's legitimately for the cause and who is just doing it because it's the trendy thing to do, or who's doing it because they need to do it to kind of cover their own ass. Um, I don't want to accuse any of these people of not having a genuine heart, because I don't know them, and I would like to hope that they are, or maybe if they come across as just coming to it, maybe they actually are a little naive to things, and they are learning and expanding their perspective on things. Um, but I have a hard time believing that this many people all of a sudden just realized a lot of shit was racist. Um, I mean, and then you have some of the people who are getting upset about the statues. I look at it like this: if you have done heinous acts, you don't deserve a statue. I don't care what good you did; it doesn't cancel out that. You can't say, well, you can't say, well, Jeffrey Dahmer was super nice to all his neighbors, and he actually, say he came up with a cure for cancer. Would that negate the 17 people who he mutilated and murdered and did all those things to? No, it would not negate it at all. You would say thank you for this thing, but you are a horrible, despicable person, and you needed to be locked away, and never be seen from again. You know, it's the same thing with a lot of these so-called founding fathers, which I don't look at them as founding fathers. I look at them as founding criminals. Um, and it's kind of the same hustle which has went on. A lot of these people have built up all these forms of power for themselves over, you know, decades and decades and centuries in some cases, knowing good well what they were doing, how they were treating different people, how they were excluding different different people. A lot of these corporations talk about, oh, well, we understand that we need to be better and do this. Well, how many of these corporations are going out and looking to their black or, minority workforce and saying, you know what, we really need to raise you guys' pay because we realized that when we came in, we paid you guys under your market value just because, or for whatever reason. I'll give you a perfect example. Getting out of the military, I had military training. I had college also, more than 5 years of college. I worked at Lowe's before. They bring me back to the job making $1 less than I made the years before. And as I switched through positions to try to get a little bit more money, I went to delivery and I was making, more money through overtime, but I wasn't making very much. I was only making about $13 an hour. They started off a 19-year-old white kid at about $15 an hour. So a kid fresh out of high school, the only job he's ever had is working at a grocery store, bagging things. I went through multi-million dollars of training in the military. I was going to school for secondary education, majoring in history, minoring in political science. I started off my first couple of years in college going for business administration, trying to work towards a marketing degree. All of that training. And I get lowballed and paid to a 19-year-old white kid. Why? Is it because he's more trained? No. We all know why. These corporations know exactly what they're doing. And until they start fixing the economic struggle also, then their talk about Black Lives Matter is simply that, just talk. All right, I'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys have a good one. Thank you.